मुझे
hello and welcome to this podcast, Rupesh. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you so much for.
Yeah. Before we move forward, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
This question reminds me of like a corporate interview that I took many years back.
Yeah.
So, so about myself, I would like to call myself more of a wanderer and a wanderer, and I'm also a maths coach. So I prefer to call myself as a coach. This word is generally used because mostly in the sports field, and sadly not in the academic field. But if we really start seeing math as a sport or any subject as a sport, then I think coach would be the appropriate word than a tutor or a teacher.
Okay, it's very interesting. So one of the things that was running in my head, what do I ask you as a first question? So let's start at a brief conversation we had in the morning today. A lot of people love to live planned lives and are very sure that it helps them deal with life much better. Whereas both of us seem to agree in the morning that one has to be ready for whatever life has to offer at that point of time. Why do you have this outlook?
Why do I have this outlook? I don't know if I know the reason behind this, and this seems to be little in contradiction with the profession in which I'm involved, where reasoning is more important. But yeah, when I started living this or experiencing this, I started. I think I started enjoying the flavor behind this, or the effortlessness that goes along while living this life. You end up actually saving more energy, and this energy, in fact, helps you kind of channelize your creativity in those directions where you felt that you are not able to contribute. This is something that I started experiencing, and hence I think I started invariably or like gradually started becoming more conscious of this kind of lifestyle where you accept the things as they are coming one day at a time.
It's quite wonderful and quite a practical answer. One of the things that this kind of attitude brings, I've realized in personal life, is initially when you start adopting this, there are a lot of things that go awry or wrong because the world moves in a certain direction. Suddenly you decided that you are going to be not ready with that presentation, or far more easygoing about it, or laughing, joking even when there is a stressful situation, because you're like, okay, let's see what happens. Not that we are irresponsible. Sometimes it does come across as that we are irresponsible. How do you tackle this part of the problem?
Yeah, so I again wonder if I face this problem. So probably I think my journey has been, maybe I would like to attribute this to I have been fortunate enough to come out of this race in which I think the modern humanity seems to be running since long back, and I think since when you understand, like sometime back I got more inclined towards education, though I was from the corporate background. I was from the engineering background and working in the companies, but my some experiences made me encounters made me look towards education more deeply, and and exploring more into those in these domains. somehow made me rethink about the purpose. I would say, I would not use the word purpose, but even the value or the beauty of just beingness, uh, something like that. And when I started seeing that, when we are in a rush to complete things or achieve things or get things done, we miss out on some smaller uh, uh, yet more, I would say, subtle things. And those nuances are something which actually, if we pay attention to sometimes, are able to pay attention to sometimes, then those open up uh, some, those help in unfolding some other paradigms, which help you again, like, what do I say, to kind of reflect upon this kind of life and the kind of life that you had been living. And this is what I would say kind of motivates you in a way further to take such, I would not say risk, but to take such plunges without any such kind of difficulty,
Pressures.
seemingly, yeah, pressure, so-called pressure that we feel that we may have.
Okay. One connected yet little disconnected question. The connection would be apparent. The disconnection part is in corporate life. When you were part of it, I have been part of it for many years. Um, there is this whole race uh, to achieving something. It could be anything. It could be money. It could be status. It could be professional happiness also. I would not deny that there is a certain sense of high you get when you land up doing some projects as well as you could, and achieving something in the service of others, sometimes your clients, sometimes your own office. Uh, a lot of people, I've been uh, I've been privy to many discussions where I've not been taken very seriously because they kind of presume you don't know the pressure of this, so because you're so easy going about it, or you are, I will use the term quote unquote more of a loser category because you couldn't handle the rat race. These are things that are either said or unsaid or implied many times. I don't mind them too much because, like you said, there are subtle things that open up within you, and you want to explore that side of your uh, own human journey, if I were to call it that. So, how have you faced problems like those when your own colleagues or seniors or even juniors would look at you and say that you had the capability? Why did you chicken out? If that is the term that they use, what would be your answer to that kind of thought process?
So, in fact, people who have been, whether it is my friends or my colleagues or some of my even relatives, people who were very skeptical and very kind of doubtful and even worried about me coming out of it when I was coming out of it or came out of it. I see now they actually very happy seeing me in the phase in which I am right now. In fact, they themselves, many of them are telling me, wish we could gather that courage. I wonder about that word courage because I don't personally think that I demonstrated any courage by coming out of it. It just happened naturally for me. Thankfully, due to some encounters and some time of reflection that I gave to myself in that phase, which probably helped me make this navigation easier. Otherwise, it is not more of courage, I think so.
Okay. This is interesting that you would say this. I would have the same reaction. Nobody's called me courageous, but I think that's how they look at me. Sometimes they think, they still wonder how do you do it, because they did see there are bad times. So I want to now come to that part where when you take a decision like this, you have financial setbacks. it's
Yeah.
difficult to negotiate, and we try to reach the middle path because of our own fears and doubts sometimes. Even that is part of many people's journey that I know of. But I think there
Yeah.
is a sense of ease that I had, and things kind of fell in place on their own. Really, I didn't have to do too many things to make this model happen. It just happens. You actually let go of all your control mechanisms and you say, okay, let's see what happens. So my question specifically is about those times which create doubt in our minds, which lead to fear, those kind of things that we have. How did you tide over those times? Because obviously it can't be a linear journey. It has its own twists and turns.
Yeah, certainly there are twists and turns, and this twists and turns itself, like I would say, are the learning phases. I think I personally, I don't think I went through these times. Yes, there were financial challenges, but not as much as people think that there would be. What the thing is that हमें आदत हो गई है कि हर महीने बैंक में अकाउंट में पैसा आना चाहिए. एक्चुअली जितना हर महीने बैंक में अकाउंट में पैसा आता है उतना ही खर्च नहीं होता है, तो थोड़ा थोड़ा जमा रहता ही है. तो अगर जो आप 1 साल 2 साल अगर जो आप कंपनी में काम करते हो तो आपके बैंक में इतना तो पैसा हो ही जाता है कि आप 5-6 महीने विदाउट एनी इनकम भी जी सकते हो. ये हमारा भ्रम है कि अगर जो महीने में हर महीने अगर जो डिपॉजिट कुछ नहीं हुआ तो फिर मेरी जिंदगी कैसे चलेगी. ये हमारा कहीं ना कहीं डर दिमाग में बैठ गया है कि मतलब विदाउट क्रेडिट कैसे डेबिट होगा. अरे, एंड सेकेंडली, when you are actually when you have started doing something what you love, when you have completely got immersed in something that is making you feel satisfied, then actually there is no space for that fear. मुझे ऐसा लगता है. मुझे कहीं पे सच में ऐसे कभी ये सब थॉट्स या डर ये सब कभी नहीं आया. हाँ, प्रेशर आता है लेकिन लेना है कि नहीं हमारे ऊपर है. समाज से प्रेशर आता है, लोग बोलते हैं, बातें करते हैं, लेकिन जब आप उस रास्ते पे चल रहे हो और कहीं ना कहीं डूबे हो उसमें, और उसके ऊपर विश्वास है अगर जो आपको, और थोड़ा बहुत प्रैक्टिकल भी हो कि भाई थोड़ा तो पैसा है कि कुछ एक्सीडेंट हो गया तो निकाल सकते हैं इतना पैसा, तो और इतना सोशल इंश्योरेंस, लाइफ इंश्योरेंस, मतलब जो हम लोग मॉनिटरी इंश्योरेंस इधर उधर कराते हैं, अगर जो हमारे फ्रेंड्स रियली जेन्युइन कुछ हो आसपास, अगर जो हमने उसके ऊपर इन्वेस्ट किया है हमारी लाइफ में, तो ह्यूमैनिटी काफी है आसपास जो मदद करती ही है, मदद मिलती ही है. तो फिर क्यों, किस बात का इतना डर जब इतने लोग हैं हमें प्यार करने के लिए, काफी लोग हैं, तो फिर किस बात का डर, और क्यों इतना सोचना, ओवर थिंकिंग करना इन सब मामलों में.
I like the fact that your answers are very practical, everyday living, instead of what seems like a textbook life. A lot of people think that once we've gotten off track, I had problems with some clients who thought that I would charge nothing just because so I was practical enough, and they were unpleasantly surprised sometimes. And then there were other friends who thought that how can you not want these foreign trips and 5-star shoots, and because I'm from advertising, this was a common thing. So how can you not want all of these things? But the idea is not to want this or not. I found that what we are searching for is happiness, and we tend to look at the acquisition part as the happiness alone, which it is not, or it may be temporary in its own space and time. But even if any one of us is forced into vacation mode for a lifetime, I think we'll get frustrated very fast, because nothing that we get easily is valuable. So I personally completely identify with what you're saying. But one question I have to ask, you mentioned family and friends.
Hmm.
A lot of times there are certain occasions where you are supposed to be part of how society wants you to be.
Hmm.
Say giving a wedding gift or birthday party or some such thing which
Hmm.
traditionally
Hmm.
may not want to be part of for whatever your reason at that point of time.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, at that point, there's a lot of pressure from other family members, relatives.
Hmm.
In my case, a lot of them have given up on me. So, but
Yeah, we all,
how?
I think we all, people who walk this path, I think they all go through similar phases.
Yeah. So how did you face that pressure when it came to you? I'm using the word pressure sheerly because they kind of think that once they put forward a point of view, there is pressure. And of course, we
Hmm.
want to be nice to people. It's not that our journey means we want to rebel against everything, but there
Hmm.
is a certain sense of ease that you get used to,
Hmm.
and
Hmm. Yeah.
you're okay with saying no. So how do you
Hmm.
deal with this? What would otherwise be seen as rude in
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
conventional society?
Hmm. Yeah. So, uh, yeah. So in this, I think what uh, maybe I'm a little lucky in this side, but however, what I have understood is yes, people uh, uh, kind of people relationships between people is something definitely which I really value. And वो आप कब मिलते हो, किस मौके पे मिलते हो और किस मौके पे मिलते हो वो जरूरी नहीं है. जब भी आप थोड़ा वक्त भी किसी के साथ मिलते हो तो आप रियली 100% उसके साथ हो क्या, ये अगर जो अनुभव आप सामने वाले को दे पा रहे हो तो मुझे नहीं लगता ये मायने रखता है कि हम उसको किस मौके पे मिलते हैं और कितना वक्त मिलते हैं. जितना मिल लिया और अगर जो रियली उसने देखा कि वो 100% हमारे साथ है जब भी और जरूरत है और साथ है, तो अपने आप सामने वाले को पता चलता है कि इट्स ओके यार, लेट अस गिव देम दैट स्पेस, एनीवे ही इज देयर विथ अस व्हेनेवर वी फील देयर इज अ नीड. तो वो ट्रस्ट जैसा भी अपने आप सामने से आता है, स्पेस भी मिलता है. जब हमारी तरफ से ऑथेंटिकली और हमारी तरफ से भी अंडरस्टैंडिंग जब भी पहले तो मतलब मुझे लगता है ये हमारी भी अंडरस्टैंडिंग की खुद की एक जर्नी है, वो डेवलप हो और बाद में वो अंडरस्टैंडिंग कम्युनिकेट हो, तो ये सब पड़ाव आते हैं इस यात्रा में. तो
जी
जब ये
जी
होने लगता है तो मुझे लगता है धीरे धीरे सामने वाले को भी मौका दें और हम बहस में ना उलझें. शायद मैंने बहस नहीं की, जब भी कुछ बोला जा रहा था तभी अब मैं शांति से आई थिंक प्यार से जब भी मौका मिला तभी बात की. तो मुझे लगता है ये शायद मेरे लिए हेल्पफुल साबित हुआ एंड आई वाज गिविंग टाइम to people whenever I feel even I needed it. On my own, I went to people telling that I'm coming to your place. Would you like to meet? I would like to come down to your home. Do you have time? So that made people think that, अरे fine, सामने से आ रहा है, सामने से घर पे आ रहा है, सामने से मिलने आ रहा है, तो फिर क्यों बार बार फोर्स करें कि भाई इसमें क्यों नहीं आते हो, उसमें क्यों नहीं आते. तो और वो ज्यादा
वंडरफुल
अच्छा साबित होने लगा क्योंकि तभी खाली कैजुअल हाउ आर यू वेयर आर यू के बदले कुछ गहरी बातें भी होती थी, जब भी पर्सनली
या
फेस टू फेस मिलके जब भी बातें होती थी तभी.
ट्रू आई थिंक this is so beautiful because very often we are so carried away by the uh, in advertising parlance by the headlines or the cover of the book that we forget
Hmm.
that there is a lot of meat inside or in the copy itself that you got
Hmm.
to give
Hmm.
some space to it. Uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
okay, would you would you want to talk to us about what you really do because you there was some problem in the connection some time back. So you were mentioning
हाँ.
something about working with disadvantaged kids. Would you want to talk a little about
हाँ.
that?
Yeah. So my journey into education actually started because of my accidental encounters with children from this socio-economically challenging background. That is
Okay.
how, that is somewhere in 2008 when I was working in the corporate field. तो वो बच्चे स्कूल में नहीं जाते थे, फिर उनको पास में सरकारी स्कूल में एडमिशन उनका हुआ, कुछ लोगों की आसपास से मदद मिली, वॉलंटियर्स जुड़े, वो धीरे धीरे काम ग्रो हुआ एक इनफॉर्मल लेवल पे, वॉलंटरी लेवल पे। तो ऐसे करके एक काइंड ऑफ मूवमेंट जैसा बन गया, जिसमें मैं भी कैसे बहने लगा मुझे पता नहीं। तो एजुकेशन की तरफ इंटरेस्ट आने लगा। तो इस तरीके से मेरा उन बच्चों के साथ काम शुरू हुआ। लेकिन वो बच्चों के साथ काम करते करते कुछ और मुझे एक्सपीरियंसेस मिले। विलेजेस एरिया में जब भी मैं एक कॉलेज में काम करता था, तो कैंप लेके रूरल एरिया में गया था, तो वहाँ पे ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में शिक्षा की क्या हालत है उसके बारे में कुछ पता चला। तो फिर थोड़ा भटकना और सोचना शुरू हुआ कि भाई क्या करें। एक एनजीओ नहीं खोलना था कुछ रीजंस की वजह से, लेकिन कंपनी में भी नहीं जाना था, तो करे क्या। ये दुविधा थी मन में कि कंपनी और एनजीओ दोनों नहीं, तो फिर पैसे कहाँ से आएंगे। तो फिर एक्सपेरिमेंट करते करते पता चला कि गैप्स, लर्निंग गैप्स खाली ये सो कॉल्ड अंडर प्रिविलेज बच्चों में नहीं है। लर्निंग गैप्स एक्चुअली ज्यादा सो कॉल्ड प्रिविलेज सेक्शन के बच्चों में भी है। ये
Okay.
इस तरफ मेरा ध्यान गया और ये मुझे पता नहीं था पहले, लेकिन जब मुझे पता चला, ये जब मेरे ध्यान में आया, तो फिर मुझे एक थोड़ा सा मौका जैसा दिखाई दिया मेरे अंदर का। आप बोल सकते हो कि एंटरप्रेन्योर जाग गया। तो मैंने उनके माँ बाप को बताया कि भाई देखो, आप तो इंजीनियर हो, डॉक्टर हो, लेकिन आपके बच्चे की हालत देखो कैसी है। क्या आपको लगता है कि ये 100 मार्क्स काफी हैं अंदर? उसको जब भी सिंपल सा सवाल पूछ रहे हैं तो वो सोच नहीं पा रहा है, जबकि उसके अंदर एक सोचने की क्षमता जन्मजात है।
Oh.
तो तो हाँ, तो तब उनको भी पता चला कि नहीं भाई, काम करने की जरूरत है, कुछ काम नहीं हो रहा है स्कूल्स में। तो ऐसे करके फिर मेरा ये एफ्लुएंट सेक्शन के बच्चों के साथ भी काम शुरू हुआ, और वहां से मुझे फिर धीरे धीरे उनके साथ वर्कशॉप्स होने लगे, और वहां से इनकम जनरेशन स्टार्ट हो गया। तो ये कहीं ना कहीं आपके सवाल का जवाब भी, पहले के सवाल का जवाब देता है कि आप लगे रहो काम पे। आप जिस तो आपको आगे जाके कुछ ना कुछ दरवाजे खुलते हैं जिसकी आपको भी उम्मीद नहीं हो, अगर जो आप ओपन रहो एक्सप्लोरेशन के। तो अगर जो पहले से प्लान करें कि भाई मुझे इसके लिए यही काम करना है, वही करना है, तो बहुत सारा जो अनफोल्डिंग, जो नए पाथ्स खुले रास्ते में मेरे लाइफ में, वो शायद नहीं खुलते, या मुझे नहीं दिखते शायद, अगर जो मैं पहले से कुछ गोल या एजेंडा या ऑब्जेक्टिव लेके बैठता।
Beautiful. I remember मेरे एक बहुत सीनियर कलीग थी, और she was very nice to me even when I was a very junior person in the office, and we used to have a lot of talks. We continued being friends after I quit the company, and I remember uh, I quit working life as an employee and started my own thing for many years. And one day she called me up and she said, "I want to tell you something, Bhatti." Uh, the the joy of getting up, and by then she had started her own thing. And mashallah, matlab, she is like a senior person and very respected in the industry, very good clients, and her partners were, one was in the Europe, one was in Europe, one was in US, and acha. So she said, the best thing about starting your own thing is getting up on a Monday morning and not fearing the clock. So matlab, it was, and she said it like a friend would talk to a friend. She's always spoken like that. But to me, I was like, oh, but अब क्या बोलूं, मतलब मुझे तो एज अ क्रिएटिव मैं तो हमेशा ऐसे ही रहा हूँ। मैं तो ज्यादा डिसिप्लिन, तुम खुद पिकअप करो, तुम्हारी मर्जी है, तुमको जल्दी उठ के काम करना है, वो तुम्हारी मर्जी है। बट वो प्रेशर की वजह से कभी हुआ ही नहीं। बट देन आई रियलाइज्ड कि दिस path is actually very enlivening because of what you said in your first answer. It kind of engages you with a lot of things that just come up on the moment. And instead of fearing it, you got to just live it. You got to be patient with yourself. Sometimes you may not know all the answers. Sometimes you may not be able to see what is it that is on the next turn itself. But it is not necessary to know every turn and every milestone of the journey. Sometimes the milestone just springs up and you realize, अरे ये तो पहले कर दिया है, ये तो कोई डर नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, because you faced a lot of these things. So one little thing that I want to ask you on this, when you are in the middle of a journey like this, how do you learn to be patient with yourself? And I'm asking this on behalf of a lot of people who have these fears, because initially you may have been lucky not to have those fears and doubts. Some people feel कि यार impromptu काम कर रहे हैं, suddenly उठ के ये कर दिया, भले सोचा हुआ होगा, 3-6 महीने सोचा है, but जिस दिन करो उस दिन first day of your non-rat race life, उस दिन तो वो डर hit करता है यार, आज तो किसी को जवाब नहीं देना. Yeah, just to give you a practical example, when I started my own business, first month we made a lot of money. Second month there was not a single dime coming, and I suddenly realized कि ये क्या कर डाला यार. And but I was very clear कि मुझे फिर तो नहीं जाना वापस working life में नहीं जाना. I like this arrangement. And in the third month I started making like twice the money I was making. So I said, it has its own pattern. You just got to keep working. You don't need to define what you are going to get, when you are going to get.
Yes.
You keep doing work. Your clients will come up and client suggests other clients कि ये अच्छा काम करता है.
Yes.
चालू हो जाता है.
Yes.
So my question to you, for people who are either thinking of this or are on this path in the initial stage, what is your thinking about the fears and the doubts in that space?
I think faith. See, the thing is, first, most important thing is finding your own, कहीं ना कहीं your inner creativity. मतलब your inner talent या creativity. मुझे इन सब चीजों का ज्यादा मतलब नहीं पता, लेकिन देखें कि भाई हम किन सब चीजों से ज्यादा अलाइन हो रहे हैं, क्या चीजें मुझे अच्छी लग रही हैं, कहाँ पे मैं ज्यादा प्रॉपर्ली कंट्रीब्यूट कर पा रहा हूँ, या मेरी वजह से कहाँ पे दूसरों को ज्यादा ठीक लग रहा है या वैल्यूएशन हो रहा है, मतलब व्हाटएवर, मतलब इन सब चीजों का मोटा मोटा ये हम अलर्ट रहें तो पता चलता है कि तो और ये आइडेंटिफिकेशन का स्पेस भी एक्चुअली हमें ना ही हमारे स्कूलिंग के रेस में, ना ही हमारे कॉर्पोरेट रेस में मोस्टली ये रुक के देखने का मौका इतना नहीं मिलता, ये स्पेस नहीं मिलता. तो स्पेस मिलता है वो बीच में एस्केप का, जहाँ पे हम किधर वेकेशन के लिए 2 दिन 3 दिन या जाते हैं, उसमें फिर वो थिंकिंग स्पेस भी नहीं होता. थिंकिंग स्पेस कॉन्शियसली लेना पड़ता है इन सब चीजों के लिए. तो वो आइडेंटिफाई करें कि मुझे क्या सच में अच्छा लगता है, अलग अलग चीजों से जुड़ के करके व्हाटएवर, लाइक ये अपने आप होता है. ये इंटेंशनली भी अलग अलग चीजों में घुस के देखने की जरूरत नहीं है. रुके रहें, थमे रहें तो अपने आप चीजें उभरती हैं, और उसमें उसके साथ बहें तो अपने आप पता चलता है कि कहाँ पे ज्यादा मैं प्रॉपर्ली मेरे स्ट्रेंथ या व्हाटएवर, स्ट्रेंथ नहीं बोलूंगा मैं, कहाँ पे मैं प्रॉपर्ली अलाइन किसके साथ हो रहा हूँ. तो उसके साथ फिर वक्त दें तो फिर मुझे लगता नहीं है, जैसे मैंने कहा कि ये फियर वगैरह ये थॉट्स भी नहीं आते इतने. आई डोंट नो, ये मुझे अभी शायद इतनी समझ नहीं है कि मैं ये समझता हूँ कि लोगों को फियर क्यों आता है, क्योंकि शायद मुझे इतना नहीं है.
Okay, I could specify that it is the fear of the unknown to start with, because structures have one advantage. Discipline and structure has the advantage that you think you know.
हाँ.
तो
लेकिन लाइफ में देखें, लेकिन अगर जो हम लाइफ में देखें तो सब कुछ अनसर्टेन ही है. अभी 1 घंटे के बाद क्या होगा किसको क्या पता है, मतलब
that's why I
कल
said
क्या होगा.
you think you know. Not that you know.
करेक्ट.
बट वो अच्छा लगता है, पेपर पे लिखा है 3 बजे इससे मिलूंगा, 4 बजे चाय पीऊंगा, 5 बजे इससे मीटिंग करूंगा, 6 बजे वो करूंगा. जिंदगी तो वैसे चलती नहीं है. आई थिंक वो तो स्कूल में समझ आ जाता है, फ्री पीरियड.
और हमारे यहाँ पे कहीं ना कहीं ये भी बिजीनेस इज समथिंग व्हिच इज लाइक कंसीडर्ड लाइक समथिंग पॉजिटिव, ज्यादा अप्रिशिएट या पॉजिटिव ना, अगर जो बिजी हो तो. ये हमारे समाज में बचपन से ही बहुत कुछ दिखाया जाता है या देखा जाता है। तो ये नथिंग, डूइंग नथिंग is like considered as something which is not good. मतलब बच्चे को भी देख लो कि कुछ नहीं करा तो इसके सामने खिलौने रख देंगे, टीवी चालू कर देंगे कि अरे वो बोर हो जाएगा। अरे let him enjoy that boredom, let him enjoy of being with himself or herself rather than simply giving him a toy or turning a movie or giving a mobile like तो लोगों को मतलब मुझे लगता है ये पता नहीं ये कैसे दिमाग में हमारे धीरे धीरे चला गया है कि कुछ ना कुछ तो करते रहना चाहिए। अगर जो आप कुछ नहीं कर रहे हो मतलब आप वेस्ट कर रहे हो अपने लाइफ को या टाइम को। ऐसा ये सोच कभी आई, कहाँ से आई मुझे नहीं पता, लेकिन ये सोच बहुत कहीं पे गहरी पनप रही है हमारे इस मॉडर्न टाइम्स में।
I think I've exhausted my questions that I can think of, but one little thing that I want to bring up. जैसे सोचा था उससे ज्यादा अच्छी कन्वर्सेशन थी। मतलब मैं सबको बोलता हूँ कॉफी शॉप कन्वर्सेशन है, स्ट्रेस नहीं लेना है। आपके साथ चाय कट्टा कन्वर्सेशन थी which is even more fun for me, which is even more fun for me. Sorry,
नहीं मुझे भी बहुत अच्छा लगा आपसे बातचीत करके। हाँ, thank you so much for again
thank you for sharing your views.
Space. Yeah,
because it's important to talk about such subjects and put them out in the mainstream. The space of boredom, the space of deep thinking, space of relaxation, not doing anything is quite loaded. Unlike what people think, it may lead to something or it may not lead to something, but it leads to a grand feeling of space and relaxation. So my and your thoughts agree on that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.